Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the EGU podcast, where you can learn all about mindset, energy, business, and abundance, plus all things spiritual from a variety of global experts. I am Michelle Reinhardt of $1 Million Mindset and founder of Entrepreneurs Globally Unite, delivering incredible value to you, for you. Shine bright, superstars. That's why you're here.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. We are here on this beautiful day, and today, my friends, I have another treat lined up for you. We're cracking into the nuts and bolts of manifestation alignment. What even is that? We're going to want you to hang around to the very end to get the hottest tips, as well as today's bonus offer. Waiting in the wings is a very valued member of my online community, Entrepreneurs Globally Unite, the very beautiful Lisa Fitzpatrick. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Michelle. So excited to be here.
Oh, it is lovely, lovely to have you here. We have been flirting around each other's profiles for years now, and to actually connect to do this topic together is very exciting. So let me clue everyone into your expertise, Lisa. I'm going to read your bio. Lisa is the go-to coach for high-achieving, spiritual, entrepreneurial women who would like to gain greater visibility and share their message with a wider audience. She's a specialist in sustainable business practices and loves supporting women to grow their online and offline presence. As a best-selling author and founder of Sacred Women's Business, Lisa believes that when women tap into their feminine wisdom, the feminine shift restores balance and equality and helps to heal our troubled world. Oh, I love that. Lisa is a certified coach, experienced speaker, writer, yoga teacher, workshop facilitator, registered physiotherapist, and mother of 2 beautiful boys. She lives in a subtropical paradise near Byron Bay with her 2 sons. Lisa, welcome. Are you ready?
I'm so ready. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle.
You're very welcome, darling. We had a pre-run yesterday, folks, and I'm excited to get the ball rolling. So, Lisa, please tell us a little more of yourself and how you grew into what you do.
Oh, yeah, I love this question because it's a slightly vulnerable story, but if it can give hope to anyone in a troubled space right now, I love to share it. So I had a really big life crisis in 2005 when my 12-year relationship broke down. I found myself a single mother with a 5 and 3-year-old sons, and my heart was in a million pieces, completely shattered by the breakup of my relationship, and I just realised I realised in a Centrelink queue when I was lining up to actually apply for a single mother's pension that everything I knew and understood and believed about my life it felt like a lie. It felt like it was false because in my previous life, I'd almost visibly on the outside had it all. You know, my partner and I had 2 beautiful homes, 2 beautiful sons. I had 2 university degrees. We had 2 nice cars and the white picket fence and the whole dream. And it was all an illusion.
Wow.
Because on the inside, I felt like a broken, empty human being with no self-esteem. And so standing in a Centrelink queue one day, I realized that I had got it all wrong, and that actually what was more important was who I was on the inside. And who I was on the inside was someone who needed to wake up to the truth of who I really was. And actually that might sound very woo-woo and at the time I would say it was very much a spiritual awakening that happened, because what that understanding and realization meant for me is that I started to look towards who I really was. And it was the promise of being in a transformational space. You know, I needed transformation in my life more than anything in the world in order to keep going for my two sons. And actually yoga promised that transformation for me initially. And then when I explored the depths of yoga, I realized that actually true transformation comes from a very deep internal shift about who we believe we are. And it's often a mindset shift that is required and a mind-body connection that needs to be forged. So that's what led me to create Sacred Women's Business. And, you know, I believe that powerful coaching can support transformation on the deepest level possible for a human being. And I made a promise back then that if I ever got back on my feet and restored and recovered from the ruins of my life, that I would help other women. Sorry, I'm feeling a bit emotional right now.
Oh, so am
that
I.
I would help women. It was a promise that I took many years to fulfill because, you know, my boys and I faced a really difficult economic period where we needed to move 9 times in 9 years. We were homeless for a short period, but I did find my feet. I did find my power. I did find my center, and I did discover who I really was. And I feel so blessed that Sacred Women's Business has been born from that struggle.
Wow. Lisa, thank you for sharing that very powerful story. I, for one, resonate very deeply with much of what you said. And at the time you mentioned the word spiritual awakening, many women and men reach these stages in their lives, and it is the breaking point or the making point. And those of us that are here for a bigger purpose, and clearly yours is Sacred Women's Business, choose to make it our making point. So congratulations on what you have achieved and the determination and drive and passion that I hear in you. Full testament to you, Lisa.
Thank you. I'm very humbled. Yeah, really.
So, Lisa, when we're talking about manifestation alignment, what does that actually mean to you?
So, two parts to that statement, and I'll start with alignment because I think that's a word we can often hear and we wonder about. You know, we wonder, what the hell does that really mean?
Yeah, I agree. Is it a straight line or on a page, or what is it?
And I think I'd probably start breaking the meaning of that statement down by an epiphany I had when I was first learning some yoga techniques and yoga principles, and it was about alignment in the body. And that when we are positioned, because actually as a previous and past life career choice, I'm a qualified physiotherapist. So alignment in the body is an extremely important part of what creates wellness in the body. And I was listening to my yoga mentor on my teacher training talking about alignment in the body, but she was going far beyond the alignment of what it means to have a healthy posture and a healthy physical alignment where your skeletal system is so in harmony with its natural, what we call in yoga, Tadasana, which is where everything's in so much alignment that your organs and your nervous system and your every system of your body is working in its optimum state because it's positioned in a good alignment. And she was going beyond that and saying that when we are actually in alignment in our bodies, we then, the ripple effects can move from the inside out towards the alignment in our mental body, alignment in our emotional bodies, alignment in our spiritual bodies. And then we become powerful channels for benevolence itself to actually work through us. And so to me, alignment means that we're living in accordance with universal principles of benevolence and what it really means for us as human beings to allow benevolence to work through us. And when we're working in alignment with benevolence, we become powerful co-creators. So that's when our manifestation powers start to really, show up in our lives. We start to actually become benevolence expressing itself in ways that create profound beauty, healing, resolution, rejuvenation, restoration, all of those things that the world desperately needs from us as humans starts to actually be channeled through us. And isn't it ironic that right now our world is in so much trouble, and that there is actually almost a crisis that's going on for that are going on for human beings, where we either allow the troubled circumstances of our outside world to move us away from ourselves, out of alignment with our co-creative purpose, and we allow it to break us, as you said before, or we make a conscious choice to allow it to make us, into the human being that we are designed to be, which is really, I might sound a little biblical here, but really in the image of our Creator, which is always, always creating beauty, creating goodness, creating grace, creating light.
Yes, I'm nodding my head. I completely agree. I know you can't see that, but I completely agree. And I love your terminology of alignment, because it is so much more. I love the terms within the yoga world, because we do need that, and it's when we're out of alignment that things go haywire. So that brings me to the next question here, Lisa. What are people likely to be experiencing if they are out of alignment?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because and out of alignment almost suggests that someone's on the wrong path, or making fatal mistakes, or not actually living in a way that might be considered to be positive to the world. But I want to really clear something up here. Every single human being, no matter whether we are in crisis, in darkness, in our shadow state, in those disempowered states, every single human being has a right to exist and a right to be here, and has a special gift to offer the world. And so every single one of us will fall out of alignment at some point, and I'd never want this discussion to cause anxiety for someone, as if to say, oh my goodness, I'm getting this all wrong. There's actually no right or wrong here. However, in my personal experience of being out of alignment, what I would tend to find, and what I used to see a lot as a therapist in particular, is that the life force that we hold in our bodies that allows us to feel alive, energized, and charged towards life itself, it starts to feel depleted. It starts to feel low in us. It starts to actually manifest itself in our body, usually in our bodies, and our bodies will give us a lot of signals and signs that actually we're not living in accordance to our higher potential, or to what benevolence desires for us. Now, I could use a really simple example there. For example, you might have a value around eating healthy food, and because you're in a rush and because you're really not actually in a position to create something, really nutritious, you reach for a fast food option and you feel absolutely terrible afterwards. And, you just feel as though, my gosh, I made the wrong choice right then and there. And benevolence would say that's why we were given free will, to make those choices.
Yeah.
And that at any one time, we have this choice to make about whether we make a choice that lifts our vibration or whether we make a choice that lowers it. But it's so important for me to reassure, that actually you will always be on an equal footing to find your way back to that quiet, still voice of benevolence that shows you the right way. So you're never far from that voice, and no matter how dark things are looking right now, that love that benevolence has for you in your life is always going to be present for you. I hope I'm clear on that.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love what you're saying, very, very much so, because there is a very fine line, isn't there, Lisa? Because we just, when we're getting in those spaces where we feel things are helpless and lost to us, that's when we close down that love that is ever present for us. And it's funny because very often there will be someone stepping into your life at that point in time that can lead you into that light.
Yes.
And we've just got to open our mind. And the hardest thing I've found in my clients is their inability to receive when they're in that space. And that's precisely what they need to actually do. Be grateful for the free gift of time, of love, of healing, of coaching, and allow the to work in their favour to help restore them to, as you say, benevolence.
I love that too, because what you said about gratitude is so important, that sometimes we miss the mark when we're experiencing a challenge and we're asked to conduct a gratitude practice to bring us out of the depths of the despair of that challenge, that we forget to be grateful for the challenge and for the things that we don't actually like about our lives. Yes. And I think that's something that we can, if we can practice gratitude and self-love for ourselves, even when we're in the pits of that despair, we're really making progress there, because it's so easy for us to enjoy and love ourselves when we're doing well, isn't it?
Truthfully, it is. And the funny thing about that is, of course, if you don't acknowledge the challenge and be grateful for it, you're likely to get thrown the same experience again until you learn the lesson.
Oh, my goodness, isn't that the truth? Absolutely. And that's something I love about the coaching process too, because it relies very strongly. My definition of coaching is that it supports you to get from where you currently are to where you currently wish to be, whether you self-coach or you assign a coach to support you to be where you currently are to where you currently want to be. And that actually defining very clearly where you currently are and being very honest about what's not working is just as important as creating that vision board, or that set of qualities that you desire to bring into your world as well.
I completely agree. And if we don't have those benchmarks in place, we never really get there, because we don't know where we're coming from and where we're going to. So
yes.
Completely agree, completely. So the nuts and bolts of alignment, Lisa, I think we've covered. How about we move on to the manifestation part of this conversation? This is the fun bit.
Yes.
So do you, you've obviously mastered manifestation to move from where you have been in your life to where you are now. Do you have any tips or tricks, and how we can tune into it?
Sure. Look, I still, like everyone, I'm practicing manifestation. I still feel it's a lifelong practice. I still get scared. I think new level, new devil. When we move from mastering one aspect of creating something we desire, we then feel quite scared about the next level of what we might want to achieve. I think with manifestation, one of the biggest things I see is a focus on current circumstances. And I think that, if more people were to understand that it is not your current circumstances that actually define your future, then, and that your ability to manifest happens independently of your current circumstances. So, there's often this belief that it's okay for some people, they have all of the support they need to create the world that they want. It's okay for that person. She's got a supportive partner, or she's got money to invest in her business, or there's this belief that we need to have certain circumstances in order to create what it is that we desire. But I think that's one of the biggest misnomers that we can buy into. And my belief is that what was important for me personally with manifestation was knowing that resources that I need to create what I want in my life, they exist within me. They are not material things. They are independent of my external circumstances, and they are resources that I activate from the inside out. It's an inside job.
And I love that you say that. Yeah.
How wonderful is that? How liberating is that? Because, again, reaching that breaking point of thinking, I'm a single mum with these two little boys who there is no way I can break out of my current circumstances. I have, 15 hours a week that they're at playgroup to try and create an income. How on earth are we going to do this? If I'd let those circumstances define and rule what I wasn't capable of, I never would have got where I miraculously, have found myself. So I hope that,
yes, it does. Yet again, thank you. I'm sure that there are many of our listeners just nodding along in agreement with us right now. And even if, they're at a stage in their lives where things are a whole lot better than they have been, they can so much better again. We have no ceiling. There is no stop, no finish. We can have and be and do anything. And it's just so exciting. And this world that we live in now, with the abundance frequencies are wide open for the taking, it just gives me goosebumps. It's amazing.
That's beautiful. And I love how that comes back to us knowing who we truly are, because when we do know how infinite, we are, we blow the lid off any glass ceilings we might have put on ourselves, or limitations that others might have put on us. And I think also what draws so many of us to this work is that when we're empathic, human beings, we've often suffered and struggled a lot because life around us often influences and affects us deeply, because you're so attuned and intuitive around you, with your environment around you, and that sometimes comes at a cost, because we pick up on the pain of others and the suffering of the world. And so knowing yourself as an infinite being becomes actually a necessary part of our survival process as empaths, which is why I think so many of us are actually stepping into these roles.
Yes, I completely agree. I really, really do, 100%. Lisa, let's wow these guys with our 3 top takeaways. I'm watching the clock here and wishing we had. I think we could probably talk all day. But
Yes.
we've got a job to do. We've got 3 tips to deliver to help our audience manifest within alignment and get more of what they want and less of what they don't want. So what would be your top number 1 tip?
Number 1, what we focus on expands. So stop focusing on not having money, not having time, not having resources or clients. Start focusing on what you would like to create more of, and that would be number 1. Number 2, your powers of co-creation and manifestation are independent of your present and past circumstances. So start seeing those powers as an inside job, activating the qualities that you wish to see around you, the qualities of freedom, liberation, abundance. They need to come from the inside out. And number 3, you have just as much power and right to manifest as any other person on the planet right now. So the principles of manifestation do not discriminate. They apply to all of us equally. They apply to you as much as they apply to someone you admire, like Bill Gates or whoever, or Oprah Winfrey, or someone that you admire has equal access to these universal principles. So you are not. Your manifestor is not broken.
I don't know. I've had my doubts at times. I tell you that. I have had my doubts, but I think you're right.
Yes. Yes. And that we are all given equal blessings in this power to manifest. So stop seeing yourself as different. The big lie that we tell ourselves is that this will work for everyone else and that we're special in some way. Every single human believes they're special in some way, whether it's detrimentally special or not. And I just want to take that boundary or that limitation away from people and say you have every power to co-create as much as the creator itself.
I love that. So I hope people have their pens and papers out then and wrote down the first step being what we focus on expands, and the second step, it is always an inside job, and the third step is that our world is non-discriminative. We have the option, the availability and the power to have it all, and take it inside and build it out from there, and it can be and will be for the taking. Thank you, Lisa.
Great.
Thank you. So I will ask one further question, if I may, before I let our viewers know where you can be found. Why do you believe people are unwilling to pay to have someone lead them, I'm going to say, from the dark into the light, into a brighter future? Do you find that people have not put the importance yet on getting through this and changing their lives?
It's a great question, because it could be true in some ways. Yes, there are people unwilling to pay, and yes, there are plenty of people who are willing to pay as well. And I think one of the biggest reasons why people would be unwilling is because they're just not being educated, or they don't have that aha moment in the sales conversation that supports them to understand how priceless or how valuable the benefits of this work are for them individually or personally. So in my experience, there are so many people out there willing to pay, and the ones that are not actually ideal clients per se, although that might sound harsh. And of course, we all want this work to be equally available to everyone. You as a person, if you're in a service role, you must believe that people are willing to pay for the priceless nature of your service. You must believe that to attract the clients that are willing to pay. That's one thing I'd love to just seed in people, to support them to get that to that stage where there are a plethora of people out there.
Yeah, and what we believe we receive, isn't that true?
Yep, I believe that.
Yeah, I love that. I ask all of my guests that question, and I love your reply to that, Lisa. Thank you so much. Lisa, I'd love you to share with our viewers where people can find you and or the best way to do that. And I believe you also have a link to a giveaway for them.
Sure. So my website is www.lisafitzpatrick.com.au, and you're very welcome to email me for any feedback at lisa@lisafitzpatrick.com.au. I have a giveaway which is the 7 keys to awakening your inner goddess, the ultimate guide to the pelvic floor, which is an embodiment process that I teach on yoga teacher trainings. That little ebook is at www.lisafitzpatrick.com.au/free gift. And I'm so honoured and privileged to have this conversation with you, Michelle. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, Lisa, thank you for joining me. It's been a long overdue conversation. I sense many, many more in the wind. And I would love to extend my enormous gratitude to you, to the work and the contribution you are doing for women globally. And may you continue to just thrive and blossom as you will. It is your divine right. So I'd like to just let our guests know that if you're not where you'd like to be, I'd love to remind you that you don't have to do this alone. The journey of a lifetime and change begins with a single step. Please reach out if you need help. We are here. We've been there. We've done it. And we'd love to support you through it. You can find me at $1,000,000mindset.com. And Lisa Fitzpatrick, it has been my esteemed pleasure to have you joining us on the EGU podcast for Abundance Frequencies. And thank you for shining the light on the nuts and bolts of Manifestation Alliance. And have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. You too. Lots of love.
Thank you, Lisa.
Namaste.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.